Hi, good evening, everybody. So after listening to Dr. Madan Gopal and Bipin, it seems, and myself having seen it over the last quarter century, it seems that obviously a lot is happening in the Delhi NCR region, but probably the politics, policy, and several other things, overshadow a lot of the developments which are happening in the hyperactive space. But those apart, it reminded me of a small story. This goes back in the day in one of the iconic London theaters. One of the directors, for the first time, used thunder in his play, and somehow it didn't work. But there was another director sitting in the audience, and when he was directing his play, he used thunder. So obviously, this guy said, "You stole my thunder," and that's how this phrase originated. Probably Delhi can say the same about Bangalore, that you stole my thunder. But all said and done, at a level, it's good that all cities grow, and there's a lot of growth happening all over. And some of the data shared over here obviously says that Delhi NCR is also doing pretty well. And some of the happening themes like the GCC, the Global Capability Centers, apparently 20% of them are based in Delhi, and the numbers are growing. So it's really great to be part of this discussion on decoding Delhi NCR playbook, volume, value, and velocity powering Soonicorns. So the region was the birthplace of outsourcing wave actually, because back in the 90s, GE, Amex, British Airways, they set up their back offices, and it just grew and grew. So there was one Maruti factory, and after that, all the other services companies grew up and scaled their business over here phenomenally. And now Delhi NCR is a region that's carving out its own distinct identity as a powerhouse of innovation. So today we decode the playbook behind Delhi's NCR's rise, the volume of ventures, the number of ventures being born here, the value they are creating across sectors from e-commerce enablement to consumer brands, and the velocity with which they are scaling up into Soonicorns. So Delhi NCR obviously has certain advantages. It's a catchment area for jobs in the entire northern region. And we have some of the best institutions like the two IITs, IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, Delhi University, apart from so many other institutes out there. So there's no dearth of talent available. And there are obviously easy access to that. And personally, I love to know more about Soonicorns because, once you're a unicorn, you've already reached a summit. As a Soonicorn, you're on the way, and you're navigating multiple challenges. And those challenges, by the way, are not similar to someone who achieved a unicorn status 10 years back, because the challenges keep changing. Prior to November 2022, AI had not democratized as much as today. AI is pretty much part of the playbook, and that changes the entire dynamic. So with us today are leaders who have built and backed some of the most exciting stories in the ecosystem, from Ankush Talwar, co-founder GoKwik, an e-commerce enablement platform, Shivam Shahi, co-founder and CEO of Blue Tokai coffee roaster, a direct-to-consumer lifestyle brand. I'm sure all of us have experienced that. Then we have Ankur Mittal, co-founder Inflection Point Ventures, and Tarun Sharma, head of healthcare and consumer at 361 Asset. So let's dive into it. Ankush, GoKwik. GoKwik enables e-commerce across India from its NCR base. What makes this region particularly suited for building platforms that serve the entire country?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start a little bit from the story of GoKwik.
Yeah,
we're
of course.
Born and brought up in Delhi NCR. It'll give us...
You're from Chandigarh, and I believe that you...
I look from Chandigarh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I'm from Chandigarh. Most of my other founders, we all are from Delhi, Kanpur, an area thereof. We are called GoKwik, not MobiQuick, but we wish we get that status one day. Vipin is gone. I'm not sure if he's here. But the story that I wanted to tell was some of the key leadership positions that we've been able to fill in our company are also, as a matter of fact, let's say a derivative of the great startup ecosystem that North India had, particularly Delhi NCR had. So what I've come to realize is that We started in 2020, so that was middle of COVID. And it was hard to meet, hard to figure out time and places to meet. So a lot of it was remote. We ended up acquiring great talent based in Delhi NCR, which was a great starting point. What I've also realized is Delhi NCR provided, so when you're really building a company, in the beginning, you need access to consumers. You have to understand what customers really want, particularly in spaces, in platform, in deep tech, in areas thereof. You need access to consumers. You need to understand the market. I feel there is tremendous depth in NCR as a market. Great reception, great consumer reception in terms of helping, enabling your brand to grow, helping you build the product as you keep building. And we are one product organization now, so we've been able to possibly do that well. Another great, I think, great advantage of Delhi NCR is it's a deep consumption market. So I'm sure that we'll always keep seeing startups building in Delhi NCR that cater to domestic consumption. And I'm sure I wouldn't have the numbers, but it's a strong belief that I have that we'll end up building startups in here, which are, yeah, so we've grown 200% every year. Soon possibly being a unicorn. That's the aspiration over the next 2, 3, 4 years.
That's very interesting. In fact, what you're saying, what Bipin highlighted earlier, we got micro markets within NCR, and there's enough room to experiment, try out your new products, and work on new things. So I was curious, Shivam, Blue Tokai, you chose to start in Delhi NCR because didn't you feel that probably the coffee market is more bigger in South than in North? Obviously, now you are a global brand, but while starting about more than a decade back, how was it, and how's the journey been over time?
So apart from what the colleagues mentioned, the one thing which is very important in NCR is people are very aspirational. So in NCR, there's no one from NCR. So everyone has come from small villages, town. So there's a thirst, there's an aspiration to achieve more in life. Okay, so coffee is an aspirational product, and this is an aspirational market. So जो लोग बोलते हैं कि सोचा या फिर that is aspiration because people love to spend, people love to earn, people love to celebrate success, people feel more emotional when they are whether it's a success or failure. So it's a very expressive market. NCR in specific. So when we started back then, and plus so our business is we source coffee from India, which is South India. So there's a supply chain. There's a manpower which is needed to scale this business. So there can be no better place than NCR because the mid-level for a consumer brand, okay, the supply which we get right from the baristas to the managers to and because of thirst and the hunger which these people have, they are highly trainable. So by default like that becomes a center point for us कि हमारे पास कॉफ़ी का सप्लाई तो आप ट्रक से ला सकते हो दिल्ली, बट आदमी आप दिल्ली से बैंगलोर नहीं ले आ सकते. So we thought कि this is going to be heavily dependent on people and the manpower business. Right now we have 3,000 people, we'll be 10,000 people like say in 2.5 years. So to be at the center where you can find this aspirational talent, people growing from barista to let's say city head in like say 1.5 years, that can only be achieved once you have empty pocket, which sadly like the North Indians from last 2-3 decades we are running behind as compared to the southern part of India. So that drives a lot of efficiency and effectiveness when it comes to people management.
Yeah.
So supply chain वहाँ से, manpower यहाँ से, one can build a good business out of that.
I think apart from great coffee, it's one conversation one can have endlessly with you in terms of the whole supply chain from plantation to coffee. So how it all works. But pretty interesting perspective. Ankur, now turning to you, from your investment perspective, what patterns do you see in NCR, based companies that could help them achieve Soonicorn status? Does the regional ecosystem contribute to the success metrics in any way?
So, I'm the co-founder of IPV, and for those of you who don't know what it is, it's an angel investing platform. Um, so, when I'm looking at a startup, where is that startup based out of, as long as it's India?
Yeah.
I don't start by asking, where are you based out of? Okay. But then when I start getting into subsectors, and I start thinking in my head, the supply side challenges that you were talking about, if you are building an ultra deep tech and for which you need to hire data scientists, probably Delhi NCR is not that place because that supply may not be available. The talent pool is not there. So I'll question them, why are they building that business out of here? But barring that and a couple of other sectors, I don't think there is any other sector that you cannot build here. Like, again, playing that micro market example, there is a micro market for anything. You can try the massiest product and you can sell a 100 crore apartment, right? And there will be a line for both of them. For a ecosystem to be successful, you need space. And just to correct, I'm not talking infra, I'm talking space.
Yeah.
So you can grow in any direction, and that is why BPO started here. Some of the earliest BPOs, GE, you took the examples, British Airways, all those, they started in Gurugram, right? KPO now, GCC. So there is a reason why they all get attracted, because there is space.
Yeah.
There is availability. There is talent, like you said, single largest city in the northern India. So talent is not a problem. And one thing I like, I'm an exception to what you said. I'm a born, brought up Delhi. I've then lived in New York and London, but then when the time came to come back home, even though the brain said go back to Bombay because I was in investment banking,
Yeah.
the heart was Delhi, and much against my wife's wishes, I moved to Delhi.
Okay.
But also it is because the people you meet here,
Yeah.
most of them will have a story. They came from nothing, built successful businesses. Today, they have operations in like 30 countries, 50 countries, 100 countries. I was reading somewhere the ultra high net worth definition is 30 crores. I live in New Friends Colony. I guess every single house is ultra high net worth individual, right? And then you keep coming this way. And so there is capital. There is exuberance. There is no dearth of motivation. Every single person who's putting money in you will have a story to tell. KPOs, BPOs have created corporate Caesars, right? Those people are now becoming startup founders. So there is a complete ecosystem play that happens in Delhi NCR, and I'm not even talking about the local administration or any governmental support that comes with it.
Yeah.
In the end, city doesn't matter, but if the ecosystem is there, life becomes easier. Delhi might be a tough place to run a startup just because you don't have a lot of low income housing. So I live in New Friends Colony. I drive to Gurugram every day for work just because I have a staff of 200, and 200 people can comfortably live in Gurugram. You can get a good co-living place, those kind of things. And again, you'll see a lot of co-living ideas. You will see small entrepreneurs running paying guest. And so another thing which I love about Delhi is you have to be extremely competitive.
Yeah.
I think that is the reason why we may have only 15 unicorns, but those are mega unicorns.
Yeah.
Those are decacons, right? Because here when we achieve success, we don't stop, right? We are not satisfied. We want to go for the next and the next and the next.
Actually, competition is always good. But the point you mentioned about deep tech, in niche areas in Delhi NCR, it is there. Like if you look at chip design, because some of the early movers, Cadence, Qualcomm, ST Microelectronics, they started actually back in late 80s.
That is true.
Their centers.
But you have to see at that time, I'm not talking about 80s, right? I'm talking about
of course.
I'm talking about 2025.
Yeah.
I'm looking to fund a startup today.
Yeah.
And I want to see over the next 5 years
Yes.
where my talent pool is coming from.
That's true.
So 80s is different.
No, I was just generally talking about in terms of talent availability. So there is niche talent Probably, as data scientists and others, obviously, maybe in some other areas you'll
See,
find
what we know
more.
is one of our portfolio, Bharat Pay, had to give BMW bikes to attract talent here.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
So you must have read about it.
But sometimes, sometimes you never know what motivates companies because there's some of the Australian companies out here and they say they prefer Delhi NCR to Bangalore, and I asked them why. They said Qantas has a direct flight from Delhi rather than not from Bangalore.
That is a very big factor.
Yeah.
And the last thing is that if we can survive this pollution, I think we can survive pretty much everything. So.
No, sometimes it can be two-pronged. Rains are good, there was no pollution, but then we had other problems. Anyway, let's not get there. So, Tarun, very nice to have you here. So, what's unique about consumer and healthcare markets in Delhi NCR? And when it comes to healthcare, a lot, when I ask healthcare anyone, this is Hyderabad. But I'm sure there's lots happening in Delhi NCR also. Yeah.
You're right. Hi, everyone. Just a quick background. I'm Tarun. I'm from 361 Asset Management. We are one of the largest domestic PE firms in India, roughly around 3 billion of assets, but strategies across the board, right, from seed to growth to late growth, pre-IPO, across the board. And I look at consumer and healthcare particularly. And to your point, I think healthcare has been a very unique journey for NCR compared to other parts. In fact, NCR even now has probably one of the, if you look at the top 5-6 cities, has the lowest bed density. And it's quite curious because there's a lot of space, real estate is available, it's not like Bombay, but it's always been a bit of a laggard. And so the flip side is that while a lot of the large chains have come out of Delhi, think of Max, of course Fortis in the past and so on, but where it has lagged a little bit is on the single specialty side. So what happened in other parts of other cities was they got their multi-specialty beds in place early enough. Then they started specializing. Let's do eye care, let's do IVF, let's do dialysis, let's do ortho, all these other segments. But Delhi has really fallen back. I think there's only Center for Sight, which is one really well-known eye care chain. The other ones are really not there in the top 4-5. So I think that's been a little bit behind. And the other aspect is, I think even on the pharma side, because we do healthcare, we do devices, we do health tech, diagnostics as well as pharma. On life sciences also, I feel it's not sort of stayed up to its potential. If you see the top 10 pharma companies, they're only Mankind Pharma from Delhi.
Yeah.
And even then, you don't see a lot of the large export-oriented players which can do, cutting-edge manufacturing excellence, high biocontainment, sterilization procedures. We don't see that coming from NCR regions. Although we have always had a strong industrial built around us. So yeah. I don't know historically why that's been in the past. Now, we also do pre-IPO, so I know the companies that are coming down the pipe who are looking large and who are impressive, but even then I don't see a lot of participation from Delhi. So that's one thing I feel it's unique why it's at least on the high-end side, either on the services or on the pharma, there's a lot more room there for growth. And on the consumer side, to your point, it's a very attractive market. I think all you guys are really benefiting from it. It's got the largest population, of course, 40 million, 42 million at the last count. They have the largest average income levels, more than 4 lakhs. 50% is between the 50 to 40 age. So it's the right age for consuming, aspiring class. So it's a great market to be in consumer. The other aspect that I find very strong for startups in consumer to play the NCR market is the distribution is really well set. I mean, Blinkit has deep roots here. Food delivery is quite good. So if you want to launch a food brand or you want to get into, quick commerce channels, you have at least a back end in place to really figure out a product market fit fairly early. So I think it's a great starting point from a consumer perspective, and that's quite unique. I don't think other cities have that scale and that depth available.
Yeah. So obviously there's some gaps, but I guess like you mentioned about Blinkit, so supply creates demand. So maybe the supply side economics, if that can be looked at, it will change some of the things. So Ankush, actually, almost similar. Many of the e-commerce ventures actually started in Bangalore. But you chose to start off in Delhi NCR. So obviously you are from Chandigarh, so you're more familiar with this part of the world. And I think you worked in Bangalore also briefly, but you still chose to be here. So what made you opt for Delhi NCR?
The food is better here.
Yeah.
So there is, so we enable e-commerce, and I think e-commerce is pretty ubiquitous in that way that while you may have startups or tech enablers, tech organizations in Bangalore and other regions, but you have equally large e-commerce D2C players in Delhi NCR. We see a lot of e-commerce, a lot of businessmen now doing e-commerce and starting D2C companies in places like Jaipur, Surat, Bombay. I feel most of these North Indian cities are ahead, possibly because there is legacy businesses that are now converting, now becoming online.
Yeah.
So you'll have a lot of woolen textile manufacturing in Punjab. You'll have a lot of, let's say, decor, ornaments in Jaipur, textile in Jaipur. You'll have Surat as a place. So it's, in fact, it's been advantageous to be here. I can still agree that there is deep tech supremacy, if you want to call it that, in Bangalore, possibly. But just from the point of fast-paced growth and to be able to nail the market fast, I think it has been an advantage mostly. We have an office in Bangalore though, so we thought that we'll benefit from both the places. So we have business here, tech there.
Okay. Shivam, since people these days are falling for anything AI, I was wondering, are you using AI in any way for coffee?
Tokai ends with AI.
Tokai, of course.
Yes.
But
So,
that's the big
I mean, like, why consumer brand, let's say last 1 decade, like is able to scale faster or achieve more is because we are lucky to have so many technologies around us, okay, and making good use of that. So let's say AI right from interviewing barista, so that people don't have to come to our place, lose 1 day salary, and to even, let's say, all this data modeling, wastage modeling, ordering, forecasting. I mean, it's a great tool, no doubt about that. We are trying to find out the consumer behavior from that, the retail, the offline consumer behavior. I think merging that video technology with this is what is the next step which we are trying to work on. So that you enter Blue Tokai, and if you are a regular, let's say hypothetically 4 years down the line, we would be able to, basis on your expression or finger, like say, we'll be able to judge like whether you need a flat white, Americano or cappuccino today. But yeah, pretty much like everything which we do, I mean, you can't scale without technology.
So has
And
that
I won't be
improved?
sitting here managing 200 cafes if technology was not around. And AI being like one very important factor in terms of, imagine man, like our wastage is like less than 2%. It would have not been possible on the Excel sheet and or any, so that has, we are blessed to have like such technologies in our life. So.
Okay. Ankush, actually for both of you, Ankush and Shivam, so both GoKwik and Blue Tokai serve consumers across India and NCR, from NCR basis. How does the Delhi NCR position as a gateway to North India's massive market provide volume advantages?
So I think we've spoken about the deep market that we have in Delhi NCR. That is true. It's sort of almost undisputed. The other thing also possibly is, and this may add to some of the cultural differences that we have, we also, in Delhi NCR, North Indians possibly have more appetite to spend. Therefore, a D2C brand or our ability to, not on healthcare then, but our ability to be able to tap into that market is possibly higher, since we've created a platform on which D2C companies, e-commerce companies plug onto. It sort of makes it easy for them to capture the demand. There is significant presence of warehouses in North India also. If you go to places around Gurugram, Manesar, and in areas thereof, you'll have ample distribution houses as well. So all of that sort of enables in capturing the demand in all across of North India. So
interesting. So we'll make it slightly
In fact,
interactive.
I'll make an interesting point. We had done for a QSR investment we were doing, we had done this broad study of 2-3 cities where you were looking at the brand consciousness of consumers across income groups. So in most of the other cities in the south, you saw very easily that as your income levels go up, your brand awareness, brand consciousness across key categories goes up. But in Delhi, even at lower income levels, that consciousness and the awareness was very high. And that we obviously are anecdotally seeing it, but that was a anecdote that we saw that on the research.
You can brand injections now then.
Yeah. So deep tech companies obviously require significant capital and long gestation periods. So Ankur and Tarun, how does NCR's proximity to policymakers, government initiatives, and financial institutions create a unique value for scaling up companies like this? In fact, for deep tech, recently we saw the government announce 1 lakh crore RDI fund. So do you think that will help push, more deep tech ideas?
We've just invested in 4 space tech startups.
Yeah.
None of them are based in Delhi. We have invested in 4 ultra deep tech drone startups. None of them are based in Delhi. We have invested in a biotech startup. It is also not based in Delhi. That fund is not meant for Delhi alone.
Yeah.
It's an India fund. Government has also set up 10,000 crore space tech fund.
Yeah.
SIDBI sits out of here. So we definitely can go and knock on the offices much sooner. We have that access, and I think that's a locational advantage. But anybody looking for money from SIDBI can always travel. So our good airports can also be a disadvantage. But there is no reason why we can't succeed here. What happens is concentration. It's not just about talent. There is a reason why a lot of financial products get built out of New York and a lot of deep tech gets built out of San Francisco, San Jose, Palo Alto. And now it is getting done in Phoenix, Arizona and Dallas, Texas. It is the ecosystem that comes with it, which also includes where you go and play your sports, where you eat, what you eat, right? Where people are going from. So I think government is doing the right thing by putting, because if you ask a Delhi businessman who has invested in startups, they will invest in a hospital if you ask them. They will take franchisees of Blue Tokai, right? They will set up warehouses, right? But tell them that this is a long gestation business with a 5% chance of success. They will not put money.
So they want immediate returns. Okay.
They want kind of guaranteed returns, although there is nothing called guaranteed returns, but there should be a higher probability of success. And therefore you will see a lot of manufacturing tech succeeding here. So because you have that setup also and there is a greater probability, you will see a lot of B2B business succeeding here. Any KPO, GCC, they are all B2B businesses, right? So you will see a lot of those businesses flourishing here. It is the whole thought process with which people come, and I think that is very important. But what is now happening is, I have taken 80x exit, 40x exit. So I am now investing in space tech startup because I've made my money from other tech, non-tech startups. So now when that journey will change, and a lot of people in Delhi now are converting their into family offices, 361 will know more about it. But now that pool of capital is available, and that pool of capital will start going into deep tech. And that's where the deep tech startups will also start rising.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I'll ask one last question. In terms of the ecosystem comparison, is there anything lacking in, you mentioned about risk, but is there anything more lacking in Delhi NCR compared to Bangalore, Hyderabad or Mumbai? Any of you or all of you?
So I'll make a point here that, the reason we keep saying Bangalore is ahead, and I'm coming from a point that I'm a Delhi boy. My wife's in the south. I was not as brave as you, so I followed her. But the one reason why Bangalore ends up, doing well is they had all the history of all the software guys were there, so all the tech talent ended up coming from there. But AI is going to disrupt all of that, right? It's going to be democratized, much lower cost of coding. You need less people. So that natural advantage of Bangalore is going to go away. Granted that for really deep tech stuff, they may still have the guys sitting there, and we may still be have a shortfall. But I think that that advantage goes away of Bangalore. So when you need to build a world-class cluster, there are broadly 3 things. You want interconnectivity, and I think Noida Airport will going to be a massive benefit when it comes on. You need a lot of the quality of life to improve. And that is a challenge with each city in India. Bombay is unaffordable, Bangalore has bad traffic, and Delhi has pollution. Every city has to figure that solution out. But the last part where we always felt that Delhi might be having a challenge in terms of access to the tech talent, that I think in the next 2-3 years will be a non-issue.
No, okay.
So it's up to the cities to then figure out the quality of life they can offer to the talent there.
Absolutely fascinating. In fact, you don't get everything everywhere, so it has to be a mixed bag.
The only thing I will add there is that while there is traffic jam and there is everything, and Bombay is also getting very polluted, I know a lot of my friends who are startup founders or investors who have started looking outside Delhi. So, and there is a calculation about how much daily life we actually lose by living, and where we call 100 AQ a day a good day. We step out and say, "Aaj 100 AQ, aaj to bahut hi acha hai," right? Not realizing how bad. So I think while I agree that AI will democratize talent, will make availability, but I think certain the 4 months, 5 months we live in gas chambers, I think that is something which the government should solve for, and it's not an unsolvable problem. Beijing can solve it, we can do it. And if we are able to solve that, then we will not lose talent. Today we may be losing ultra-rich people for tax reasons or whatever, right? But when we start losing talent because they want better, healthy life, better air, that could be a challenge in the next 3-4 years.
I will just like to add, because there are people from government and policy makers here, somehow if they monitor the support system and the effectiveness of that, I think the speed is pretty much low in Delhi as compared to Bangalore, Bombay, Pune or any place, though we are sitting at the center of, like the power, the policy makers. But to get anything being done in Delhi, it takes much longer though it looks very easy, but it takes a lot of time to push things. People are not willing to follow the SOPs versus if you go south, west, or even Telangana, I think we could clearly see like something takes like 25 days here, might take 5 days, same process, everything. Yeah. So the policymakers or the government has to, if they can improve on that, because it's the same application, health and trade, say for example, right?
Great. Actually, we are.
So it has to take same time, right? And it's the same document. So I think that that is something which the city can improve on. Like,
we are actually a bit running out of time. So quickly,
sure, no,
last points.
I had one point on this one, which is, and it's hard to argue with this also. So we don't have great community of developers. So when do you see a good hackathon happening in Delhi, Gurugram, NCR? There's so much of that happening in Bangalore. I feel that is something, the incubation. Yeah. We have some incubation centers. I've been to Triple IT, one, which is nice, but there are a few. But I think we lack a lot of community here. And there's a question. So India's fastest computer is called Param. It's 75th fastest in the world. So we still have a lot to catch up on.
But probably in the next coming years, we'll catch up a lot. And the way AI is going, we'll talk less about geography, but what about the ideas we deliver? Because COVID taught us hybrid work. AI might just take it to another level, and so.
Yeah, I may take it to no work.
Great.
Only coffee.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoyed.